All right, guys, it is sandbag time. I'm going to show you guys exactly where to start and how to begin with a sandbag. If you didn't see the video I uploaded before this, I went over what brand of sandbag to get, what weight to start with, where to get the sand, basically all the specifics on how to get the sandbag to you and how to get it filled with sand and what it looks like. So now I'm going to go over the basics of how to use the sandbag. So let's jump right into it. We're going to talk about how to grip the sandbag and how to breathe while you're lifting the sandbag. One thing I want to start off with is comparing this to a barbell, just because I know a lot of people are coming from using barbells. No hate against barbells, by the way. I absolutely love doing squats and deadlifts with barbells. Haven't done them in a while, but I do miss them. There is some key differences that I want to explain here. And so go ahead and pretend that this is a barbell right here, okay? So you're going to go into your deadlift. You hinge back, your butt is out, your back is really straight. And typically what people do is they take the deep breath, they hold their breath all the way up, and then they exhale, right? So you're keeping everything really tight, everything really stiff and rigid, so you can pull that weight up without compromising your spine, right? And holding your breath will help that. Nothing against that. That is just a typical way of doing the deadlift. Some people breathe differently, but for the most part, you're keeping everything very stiff, straight line, and you don't want to compromise the position of your spine. Where the sandbag differs and why I love sandbags so much is that you can breathe throughout the movement, and I recommend breathing throughout the movement, and that's really exactly where I find a lot of the benefits. Where exactly do we start? So what I would do is you're gonna stand right above your sandbag, and instead of grabbing it on the sides like this, you can do this, but as you get heavier with the sandbags, it's going to be very difficult to actually get a good grip doing it that way. So what I recommend is rolling the sandbag left and right and getting your hands and your palms under the sandbag. And that way you have a good grip under there. And as you notice, while I'm doing this, my back isn't like this, like a deadlift. It's a little bit more circled, and that's totally okay with me. And that's really what I'm looking for, and I'm breathing throughout this whole thing. And what I usually try to focus on now is I'll take a deep breath in, and then as I'm exhaling, I do a loud grunt, and I pull the sandbag up. And then from here, you're going to do the same thing with the grunting, and you're going to pull it up and pull it into your belly. And notice here, guys, my grip. So this is how I usually do it. There's plenty of grips you can do with the sandbag, but I usually have my left hand over my wrist on my other hand, or you can go the opposite way. So keep in mind, guys, when you're breathing, you want to try to breathe into your diaphragm here. So it's diaphragmatic breathing. You don't want to do this, the panic breathing. You don't want to fill your chest up. You want to fill your abdominal, your diaphragm, this whole area up. And that is a big challenge for me, but I think that's very essential for this type of training and to be able to do it sustainably. Go ahead and try this with me. Breathe in through our diaphragm here. And then we're going to exhale. And you'll notice when you exhale that way and you do that grunt, that it becomes like stiff in your core and you feel activation here, you feel pressure, but it does stiffen it up a little bit. And that is a good way, in my opinion, to stay strong during the lift, but also practice breathing during the lift. All right, so get under the sandbag, deep breath, exhale. And now we got it to our first position. My hand is over my wrist. Got a good grip here. Now it's resting right on top of our hamstrings here. We're going to take another deep breath, and we're going to stand up. But we're going to stand up and pull it into our stomach. So deep breath into the diaphragm. And then we're going to exhale on the way up. All right? And this is exactly where I want you to be. This is what I want you to focus on to start with. So right now, the first thing I want to do, and what I struggle with not doing, is this, which is essentially panic breathing, and you're breathing really quick into your chest, right? You don't want that. You want to control the chaos here. You want to hold this out in front of you, breathe into your diaphragm, and control your breath. And it's going to be tough here because the sandbag is pressed up against your stomach. So when you try to breathe into that area, you have something pressing up against it, which makes it much more difficult. But I promise you, it's going to be much better than doing that and freaking out the whole time. This is very similar to doing something like taking a cold shower, where when you take that cold shower and the shock hits you right away, and you immediately start breathing really quick and you want to pass out and you're freaking out. In that very moment, when you're able to control your breath, you deal with the pain and you calm your breath down, you calm your brain down, everything starts to slow down. All the while, you're in excessive pain from the cold, right? That is to me, is very comparable to this, because if you can move a sandbag on your shoulders, out in front of you, or whatever position it is, and you can keep your breath calm and keep it controlled throughout, I think there's going to be massive benefits to gain there, and you're all around just going to be stronger. I do feel that that method with different movements with the sandbag is going to be very applicable and have a high carryover to daily life. Because in daily life, things are awkward, right? When you pick something up, it might not be as perfectly balanced as a barbell, and you might not be able to hold your breath in the moment and have everything perfectly straight and set up perfectly, and you might have to hold it for a long time. All of a sudden, everything in daily life becomes easier. Not only do you just become stronger, so things become easier, but you learn how to breathe and stay calm during these tense situations. And I just think that these things have just such a profound impact on strength and mobility, but just also how you maneuver through daily life and how your brain handles stress through daily life. And that might sound dramatic to you, but I really do believe that. All right, back to it. Get your hands under, get a good grip. Just walk around. And after you get comfortable doing this, you start feeling comfortable with the weight out in front of you. You start getting better at your breathing, and you go, all right, I can do a little bit more. You can go ahead and start adding in certain things, like a simple step back and up. Another thing you could add to that, you step back and you kneel down just a bit. Don't go too far if you're just starting. And back up, adding a little bit of rotation in there. Now you're really working that core and testing your ability to breathe and rotate and carrying load at the same time. You do stuff like that. You can go into some very, very simple squats. And get down here and just hold it. You can do an over the shoulder. And this is the same concept. You walk around and you breathe, controlling the chaos, controlling the weight. And I'll show you guys one thing that I like to do before my workouts, sometimes during, sometimes after. Really just depends on what I'm feeling, but I'll do very random stuff just like this. Sometimes for 5 minutes, sometimes a little longer. I'll do very random movements, but I'm just getting my whole body working as one. My breath work is down. Everything is being activated. The way I see it is this is practicing my strength, my mobility, my foundation, right? How robust am I? much weight can I hold on top of my shoulder without breaking? Remember, guys, I'm not perfect with this breathing thing either. This is very challenging for me. Hi, buddy. I'm almost done. We'll go for a walk after this, I promise, okay? I promise. I've been filming for too long today. And this might look weird too, but I wrestle with the sandbag. I roll around with it. Get it on top of me. Very weird stuff. And that's just how I utilize a sandbag. And of course I do a lot of strength training with it, but a lot of times for me it is just very movement based and just making sure that my body is robust and capable of holding that weight. I don't want to tell you guys exactly where to start because I do believe that with this everything is so very different. Everybody is so very different. But what I will tell you is how I started. And the first couple days I got my sandbag, I absolutely freaked out because, in a good way, I guess, but my ego was hurt because I could deadlift a lot of weight, but why can't I lift this? I had it loaded up to 70 pounds and I could barely lift it, and I hurt my back the first 3 days. What I ended up doing was finally taking a little bit more of a calm approach, and basically just every morning during my workout, maybe before my workout, I would just start utilizing the sandbag. So when I say utilizing it, I would do exactly what I just showed you. I would do something very simple, like just getting it up here and just holding it and breathing. Or I would sit here and stand and focus on my breath. And basically just microdosing the movement and really just kind of getting my body accustomed to holding an awkward weight. And in reality, I did that for a good month, just 5-10 minutes maybe every day, every other day. If you walk by, pick up the sandbag, hold it and breathe. If you're doing it during your workout, don't murder yourself. The idea of this is that you want to be able to come back the next day and do it again. If you go 100% with a sandbag on Monday, Tuesday you're going to come back and your maximum is now going to be here. So even if you go 100%, it's only going to be a 100% to here, and it only goes down, down, and down. So you're going to get much less volume that way. But if you go maybe 50%, 60% every day or every other day, you come back refreshed every workout. You didn't burn yourself out so much from the day before, but you still did enough to where you reap the benefits. And that to me is a good way to come back, keep utilizing the sandbag, keep gaining the benefits from the movement and the strength that you can gain. And the only thing I want to end on here is that I definitely do like barbells, but I do want to stress that if you are a person that, you know, doesn't move around too much, maybe you have a desk job or you don't have the best back or whatever the scenario is, you might not be a person that should go to the gym and throw a barbell on their back and compress their spine every day. Something like this could be a great addition for you, because when you pick it up and you're holding the sandbag out here, now from out here, you're not directly compressing your spine, but your spine still has to work to stabilize this load, but it is much different than putting a barbell on your back. And you'll notice that when you do that, there is a very big difference. You'll notice a different strain on your spine and on your core. And it might be a better way to approach deadlifting and squatting while still being able to utilize a lot of weight. That's all I got for now. I hope that was helpful. Remember to start off very light. Take your time. And focus on breathing. See you on the next one.